Do you remember those wonderful days at the amusement park with your friends? Who could resist the thrill of riding a roller coaster? Coasters are meant to scare, but in the following incidents, the fear wasn't from fun. It was a result of a tragic real-life event. In today's video, we're talking about the 50 most horrifying roller coaster disasters ever. Before we step into this roller coaster ride, show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. Number 50. When we think of tragedies, the last name that comes to mind is Disneyland. It's hard to believe that negligence could happen at the world's #1 theme park. Disasters can strike in the most unexpected places, my friends. Young Brandon suffered severe injuries on the Disneyland Roger Rabbit attraction. Brandon, then 4 years old, was riding the Roger Rabbit with his family on September 22, 2000. The car made a sharp curve, causing Brandon to fall because the lap bar wasn't lowered all the way. Before it stopped, the car dragged him for 10 feet. He suffered major brain damage and other severe injuries in the accident. He had surgery, but he never fully recovered. The family sued Disney, forcing the park to make the ride safer. Disneyland modified the seating arrangements and added a double-check mechanism for lap bars. Number 49. The next one brings us to the newest disaster in the oldest theme park in Sweden. One of the jet-line roller coaster's trains, carrying 14 riders, derailed and partially came off the tracks at Grönalund on June 25, 2023. One person passed away, and the accident injured many others, sending them to the hospital. Investigators were still looking into this disaster. They believe the reason the cart fell off the rail was because one of the support arms broke off. They're still unsure of the precise reason. Number 48. At 430 feet high, the Orlando Freefall was once thought to be the world's tallest freestanding drop tower. On March 24, 2022, a 14-year-old boy perished in another horrific amusement park accident at Icon Park after falling while riding the Orlando Freefall. The boy's seat broke its lock and he dropped out. And guess what? The same company built rides for other amusement parks with similar attractions. They decided to pause operations until the thorough investigations were finished. Number 47. April 15, 2004 was a sunny day at Oakwood Theme Park, and 16-year-old Hayley Williams was ready for an adventure with her friends. Their focus was on the park's biggest attraction, the Hydro roller coaster. This ride ascended at an 85-degree angle, almost vertically, so it was not for the timid-hearted. There's no time to catch your breath at the top because the descent is as fast as 50 meters per hour. As Hayley and her friends zoomed down, something went wrong. Hayley fell a shocking 120 feet into the water below, and she passed away in the hospital. The investigations revealed that the safety bar was broken. This serious safety violation resulted in a whopping fine of $255,000 for the park. Additionally, Oakwood Theme Park immediately closed until next year to repair the ride restraints. Number 46. The next one is the deadliest roller coaster accident in history. A tragedy struck on May 30th, 1972, rocking the London Battersea Fun Fair to its foundation. This is what happened that day. An unanticipated catastrophe occurred at the park's main attraction, the Big Dipper. The coaster ascended with 30 passengers and a brave brakeman aboard, but a tragedy occurred when the transport rope broke, sending the train crashing backward down the track. The tragedy occurred when they raced towards the end of the track at full speed, and there was no way to stop safely. 13 people suffered severe injuries and 5 died. Investigators found numerous problems at the park, including undertrained workers and drug use by employees. Number 45. The next disaster will take us to Krug Park in the heart of Nebraska. People come to the park to ride the huge roller coaster made entirely of wood. With 4 cars linked together, it can carry over 20 thrill seekers at once. On July 30th, 1930, disaster struck as the Big Dipper approached its highest point. A bolt broke loose in the front car's brakes, sending the roller coaster plummeting 35 feet. The tragedy killed 4 people and left 17 others severely injured. Despite efforts to revive it, the park never recovered. It eventually closed for good in 1940, leaving behind tragic memories. Number 44. Moving on to the next tragedy. Jillian's Wonderland Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey had erected the Wild Wonder Coaster, but an error in installation went unnoticed. This resulted in a catastrophic collapse, with the coaster car plummeting backward, killing and injuring people. Maintenance personnel had replaced critical safety components that were not up to standard, causing the anti-rollback system to fail and ultimately the deadly disaster. Kimberly Bailey, 39, and her daughter Jessica boarded this ride. As the Wild Wonder Coaster made its way up, a chain broke and the car forcefully crashed backward. Unfortunately, the two did not survive the crash. Number 43. Do you think only visitors can be the victims at amusement parks? Sometimes, employees can also be unfortunate, just as in the case of Debbie Stone. In 1974, a terrible event occurred at Disneyland, destroying the illusion that it is the happiest place on Earth. America Sings was a former attraction at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Debbie Stone became the first theme park employee in the United States. Debbie Stone excelled academically and athletically, and she aspired to work at Disneyland, the magical place where dreams come true. The incident happened during the launch of America Sings, a musical extravaganza at Disneyland. Debbie, the hostess, became trapped between the revolving walls of 2 theaters, which resulted in her death. Despite the passage of time, urban legends and ghost stories linger, with some claiming to have seen Debbie's spirit at the site of the tragic incident. Number 42. On July 19, 2013, Rosa's family traveled to an amusement park. As they waited in line for the towering Texas giant roller coaster, they were filled with anticipation and excitement. The Texas Giant, previously known as the world's highest wooden coaster, offered an unrivaled combination of speed and height. She quickly took her seat in the roller coaster car, looking forward to the thrilling ride. However, there was one issue. Each seat had only a single bar to keep passengers from falling. Nobody ever considered that the bar might not be sufficient to keep passengers from slipping off. However, problems began as the coaster plunged rapidly down at its first descent. The car was speeding toward a sharp turn and the restraint had come off. Rosa made an effort to hang on, but her weak hands were unable to withstand the pressure pulling her forward. Rosa was thrown from her seat and plunged 75 feet to her death in front of her own daughter, her family, and other thrill seekers. Number 41. Vicky Bush, a Buckton University student, was turning 20. She was looking forward to celebrating her big birthday with her boyfriend Daniel Thorpe, who enjoyed basketball and cheered much like her. They thought it would be pleasant to spend the day at Alton Towers Resort, but it turned into a nightmare when they rode the Smiler roller coaster. Instead of having fun, they became trapped and injured as the ride malfunctioned. While the park's owner admitted their mistake and faced consequences, Vicky had to cope with the pain and sadness brought on by her wounds. It was fortunate for her that she survived. Number 40. Unlike other roller coasters, the Mindbender catastrophe was unique. The Mindbender, housed in Galaxyland Park in Edmonton Mall, Canada, was the biggest indoor roller coaster in the world. The Mindbender's triple loop design and heart-pounding speeds drew adrenaline addicts to the ride. But on June 14, 1986, a car derailed, plunging riders to the concrete below as the coaster sped through its last loop. When the full scope of the tragedy became apparent, the joyful shouts gave way to a terrified calm. The day's events claimed lives and left many more with permanent injuries. After the tragedy, investigations revealed that the management's negligence caused the accident, resulting in the deaths of 3 people and hospitalizing 1. Number 39. A racing wooden coaster at Jackson Township, New Jersey Six Flags Great Adventure Park was the subject of the Rolling Thunder incident. Riders found the experience much more thrilling because of its multiple tracks and thrilling rides. The Rolling Thunder with a 96-foot plunge was not for the timid, but on June 16, 1981, Scott Tyler, a park employee, sadly died following a fall from the coaster during a routine test run. Tyler, a 20-year-old man from Middletown, New Jersey, might have taken up an unapproved riding position, which resulted in the deadly collision. The Rolling Thunder closed in 2013 to make room for new attractions like Zumanjaro, Drop of Doom. Number 38. Another heartbreaking tragedy struck right there on the evening of May 11, 1984. It wasn't just 1 life lost, but a staggering 18 lives. The Skyride roller coaster caught fire due to an electrical problem, which resulted in the tragic outcome. The 8 teenagers were sitting in 2 separate gondola cars when the fire started. Sadly, the safety measures on the ride prevented them from getting away, and they burned to death. It was one of the first major accidents that had a long-lasting effect on the amusement park sector.
Providing walls, cloth and paper coverings on most surfaces, wood and
If you're finding our video helpful so far, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more informative content.
Discovered in the wreckage, most of them in the same narrow corridor.
Number 37. Step into Disneyland, a place where fantasy meets reality. Beyond the smiles and laughter, there are stories of grief and sorrow lurking beneath the surface of this cherished theme park. Disneyland has had its fair share of tragedies, just like any other destination where millions of people gather for entertainment. Let's examine a few of them. One such event is the 1984 incident with Dolly Young. Dolly lost her life in a terrifying collision on her solo ride on the Matterhorn at Disneyland. When Gina Young and her companions were riding the Matterhorn in January of that year, she observed someone had fallen out of another car. The following bobsled struck Dolly, killing her in spite of efforts to avoid the collision. The inquiry concluded that it was an accident, most likely caused by the seatbelt. The next day, the Matterhorn reopened for business despite the tragedy. Number 36. The next one is Mark Maples' terrifying story from May 1964. Mark Maples, a 15-year-old Long Beach resident, lined up for the exhilarating ride with 2 of his classmates during an Elks Club event held after hours. Mark tragically slid off the bobsled during their mountain descent, suffering a severe head injury. Mark died 4 days later, despite efforts to save him. At first, there were rumors that Mark had stood up during the ride and unbuckled his seatbelt, which caused the accident. Despite investigations that included slow-motion train trips to recreate the incidents, no concrete proof of foul play was discovered. The police chief ultimately declared Mark's death purely accidental. Number 35. We're not done with Disney yet. The tragedies go on. A tragic event occurred on the famous Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in 2023. Amidst the laughter and excitement, a maintenance oversight led to a catastrophic malfunction. Marcelo Torres, a brilliant 22-year-old, passed away, and 10 more people sustained injuries. Heroes emerged from the crowd to help the injured, and they called for help. Following the incident, there were many unanswered questions that demanded responsibility and an explanation. Disneyland had to shut its doors for a while as investigators tried to piece together what went wrong. Number 34. The next one is Coney Island's Cyclone, which has gained notoriety for the tragedies it has caused. The Cyclone was an engineering wonder when it opened, making it the park's oldest attraction. The ride invites visitors to enjoy its thrilling drops and turns with its unique appearance. The rules are a little looser here, unlike places like Disneyland. However, there was a particularly hazardous ride known as the Rough Riders in the early 1900s. It was a war-themed play that tragically claimed 7 lives. That is pretty scary. Number 33. In the late 1800s, Coney Island was the most well-liked destination for entertainment. Visitors came to experience exhilarating roller coasters. Some of these coasters, like the Flip Flap Railway, were known for being highly intense and capable of knocking you out. And even though these rides were risky, people loved them because they were so thrilling. In 1985, a 29-year-old rider died tragically as he stood up during the ride and hit a cross-speed. Another deadly accident occurred in 1988 when an employee named Peter Ellis fell off the coaster during a joyride. Investigations revealed no mechanical problems. Number 32. In 2007, Keith Sharassa suffered a severe neck injury while riding the Cyclone, resulting in his death. He had emergency surgery, but complications ultimately claimed his life. His family's lawsuit exposed the ride's maintenance issues. Despite its history of tragedies and mechanical issues, the Cyclone remains operational, although it has undergone modifications and repairs. Number 31. The centerpiece of Bell's Amusement Park in Tulsa, the Wildcat, is the subject of our next incident. With a top speed of 45 miles per hour and a 460-foot single rail track with a 44-foot height hill, this steel looping roller coaster debuted in 1974. It was well known for its thrilling curves, bends, and loops, which made it a favorite attraction at the park. A terrible accident occurred on April 20, 1997, leaving 6 people injured and a 14-year-old rider dead. The tragedy unfolded when the Wildcat ride car was towed up to the top of a hill. The car suddenly slid backward just before the top, colliding with another car that was starting its ascent. Witnesses reported the 14-year-old boy sitting in the front of the car getting thrown, slamming his head fatally on one of the metal bars of the ride. The boy, who had always been scared of roller coasters, gathered the courage to ride the Wildcat that day, hoping to overcome his phobia. Unfortunately, his courageous decision marked the beginning of a tragic ending. Just 2 weeks prior to the tragedy, the Oklahoma Labor Department inspected the roller coaster and deemed it fit for operation. Number 30. Let's explore yet another chilling Disneyland tale. This time, it's the Disneyland catastrophe in Anaheim, California, involving the Matterhorn. A double-tracked steel roller coaster through a snow-capped peak, the Matterhorn transports riders on a winding, twisting adventure. Dolly Regina Young, then 48 years old, went to Disneyland with friends in 1984. At the foot of the Matterhorn, Dolly climbed onto a bobsled with her friends. An unfortunate turn of events expelled Dolly from the bobsled, cruelly cutting short her life in an instant. Authorities conducted inquiries, but the explanations remained elusive, casting a shadow of mystery and fear over the Matterhorn. Dolly's ghost is rumored to still haunt the Matterhorn. Number 29. The Cobra, located at Tivoli Friheden Amusement Park in Denmark, was an exhilarating inverted roller coaster made of steel. With a track length of 1,312 feet and a height of 82 feet, riders could reach speeds of up to 43.5 miles per hour while speeding through 3 inversions. Just 6 days after its formal opening, on July 4, 2008, the front car derailed and plummeted to the ground, injuring 4 people. The ride remained closed for testing and repairs until the end of May 2009. But the management decided to keep running the same dangerous ride instead of suspecting there was a problem. Sadly, a 14-year-old girl perished on the Cobra on July 14, 2022, when the top cart broke off, necessitating the ride's permanent closure. Number 28. A similar disaster struck Orlando, Florida's Icon Park, which is well known for its exhilarating rides. The 14-year-old Tyree Sampson was filled with excitement as he walked up to the imposing freefall drop tower. Despite concerns about safety, Tyrese's excitement remained unwavering, but as soon as the ride started, something went wrong. Tyrese flew out of his seat and crashed onto the ground. Examinations indicated carelessness and neglect of safety precautions. Number 27. Eager to experience the exhilaration of its well-known roller coasters, Rachel headed to Cedar Point Park in Sandusky, Ohio. There are 15 coasters at Cedar Point. While Rachel was waiting for the ultimate thrill ride, the dragster, tragedy occurred. A loose bracket struck her, seriously injuring her brain. During the examination, they found 50 bolts disconnected, showing a problem with the coaster's maintenance. It's baffling how no one noticed 50 missing bolts on such a big ride. This highlights how the park's management and maintenance crew weren't paying attention. Number 26. The Ohio State Fair Fireball Ride catastrophe is another tragic event that happened in Ohio. The tragedy at the Ohio State Fair on July 26, 2017 was devastating. When the ride broke down, an 18-year-old guy died, bringing 7 others with serious injuries to the hospital. Following an inspection, the ride's manufacturer declared that the primary support beam of the ride had excessively corroded, which was the cause of the disaster. Since this rust had gone unnoticed for a while, the huge stress load of the passengers on board caused a catastrophic failure. Number 25. What happened in 2006 on the Son of Beast ride is much more disturbing. The Son of Beast roller coaster at Kings Island gained headlines after a catastrophic accident, but problems with the ride started far earlier. Son of Beast stands out as the tallest and fastest coaster. However, issues arose at the start of its construction. Problems continued despite attempts to resolve them, including a partial collapse that occurred during construction. A calamity occurred in 2006 when support structures broke, leading to panic and injuries. Investigations uncovered flaws and structural defects, and it closed permanently in 2012. Number 24. At the Darien Lake Theme Park Resort outside New York, tragedy struck on what appeared to be a routine day. The Ride of Steel, a gigantic roller coaster with a height of 208 feet and a spectacular 205-foot drop with a top speed of 73 miles per hour, stood tall in the park. Tragically, 29-year-old James Hackmeyer, a veteran of the war, lost his life after falling from the Ride of Steel while enjoying a happy day with his family. Hackmeyer lost both of his legs in Iraq and was a double amputee. Somehow, he made it through the war and his trauma, only to die at a place that was supposed to bring him joy. Darien Lake Resort had seen similar tragedies before, raising concerns about the actual safety of such rides. The Ride of Steel, once celebrated for its thrills, now has a tragic past. Before moving on to the next tragedy, be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more engaging videos. Don't miss out on future updates. Number 23. On July 3, 2020, a raft capsized on the Canyon River Rapids ride at Hershey Park in Hershey, resulting in injuries to 6 passengers. The purpose of the ride is to transport visitors on an exhilarating whitewater rafting adventure, complete with thrilling rapids and waterfalls. The raft abruptly flipped over, ejecting several riders, which led to the disaster. 4 individuals were tossed into the water and incurred minor injuries, whereas 2 others sustained more severe injuries. An unforeseen fault in the ride's conveyor belt system triggered the accident. Number 22. A terrible event happened on March 29, 1980, when 2 trains collided at an amusement park, killing a 13-year-old boy and injuring 8 other passengers. A 13-year-old boy traveling with his father was among those riding on the vintage roller coaster Whizzer. The 2 trains collided abruptly, causing a catastrophic chain reaction and sending passengers flying from their seats. A problem with the ride's braking mechanism that park personnel had missed during inspection ultimately resulted in the accident. Number 21. An accident at Six Flags Magic Mountain left 4 people with minor injuries when the Ninja roller coaster crashed into a tree. On July 7, 2014, the Ninja roller coaster unexpectedly fell off its tracks after colliding with a tree while it was in motion. The collision sent the 4 passengers soaring into the air, and they all suffered minor injuries. The ride had malfunctioned due to metal fatigue, which is what caused it to suddenly derail and crash, according to the incident's investigation. Number 20. A raft on the Rip-Roaring Rapids attraction capsized on August 11, 1996 at Six Flags Whitewater Park in Marietta, Georgia, resulting in tragedy. 6 people were hospitalized following the incident, ranging in severity from minor to serious. The incident happened when a park ranger informed guests that they could ride the ride even though there was an approaching wave that had flipped over numerous other rafts. The raft in issue overturned due to the wave's ferocity, plunging all of its occupants into the ocean. After the investigation concluded that operator error was the primary cause of the accident, he was found guilty of negligence for not following standard safety procedures. Number 19. On August 7, 2006, Caleb Schwab, the 10-year-old son of State Representative Scott Schwab of Kansas City, Kansas, tragically passed away while riding the Verrückt slide at Schlitterbahn Water Park. It boasted a 168-foot vertical drop that was marketed as the world's largest water slide. 2 raft straps had come loose during the ride, ejecting him from the raft and hitting metal supports along the track. Later investigations revealed that Schwab was riding the Verrückt water slide alone, despite the ride's requirement for 3 people to be in a raft simultaneously. Number 18. At Knott's Berry Farm Amusement Park in Buena Park, California, tragedy struck on September 23, 2001. Lori Mason Larez, a 40-year-old lady, sadly died after falling from one of the park's most well-known attractions. She was reportedly thrown from her seat and plummeted around 20 feet to the ground while riding the Ghost Rider roller coaster. State inspectors investigating the incident discovered that Martinez's death resulted from insufficient safety straps on the ride. Number 17. Roller coasters' extreme height adds to the excitement, but it also makes them dangerous. On July 11, 2010, Lindsay Zeno traveled to Blue Bayou Water Park Dixieland Amusement Park. She stepped on the extreme coaster, which had been in operation for roughly 3 years. Minutes later, she fell 30 feet from the coaster and died of her injuries. The subsequent inquiry was unable to figure out whether the accident was caused by a malfunctioning safety device or if it was never securely locked in the first place. Following the tragedy, the ride was permanently closed. Number 16. On August 31, 2005, a 45-year-old mentally challenged lady visited the Adventureland amusement park in New York. She boarded the Top Scan attraction, which takes riders on a spinning journey in 6 free rotating gondolas. During the trip, people are spun in all directions, even upside down. Unfortunately, the woman's safety strap snapped mid-ride and she fell down from her car. After her death, the ride was never operated again. Number 15. A teen who leapt over certain gates and reached a prohibited area on a roller coaster in 2015 ended up decapitated. Six Flags Over Georgia was the scene of this horrifying disaster. Asia LaShawn Ferguson, 17, of Springfield, climbed over 2 fences that were 2 meters high. Some witnesses said he tried to prank the ride's passengers. The boy sustained a fatal blow immediately after entering the roller coaster. One of the passengers in a coach driving at 80 kilometers an hour struck the youngster on the head with his foot. Number 14. 12-year-old Tegan Marty went to Extreme World Adventure Park in Wisconsin Dells after watching a similar ride on TV. The operator of the attraction, Terminal Velocity, accidentally released her before the safety net was in place, forcing her to fall directly into the concrete and suffer serious injuries. After being paralyzed for months, She recovered and returned to life. The ride operator was charged with first-degree reckless injury. Number 13. On December 24, 1998, a metal cleat detached from the sailing ship Columbia ride at Disneyland, striking a visitor and one employee. One of the tourists, Luann Dawson, passed away as a result of her brain injuries sustained in the accident. Investigations found that the park's management had secured the cleat in place with a rope instead of a suitable strap, which was not strong enough to prevent the accident. The park's management was held accountable, and the victim's family got a $25 million settlement. The Columbia ride has remained closed since the incident. Number 12. On August 11, 1996, a mini train at Old Indiana Fun Park derailed and flipped, crushing 2 people. The victims were 4-year-old Emily Hunt, who was paralyzed from the chest down, and her 57-year-old grandmother, Nancy Jones. An investigation revealed that the train was traveling much faster than the estimated 19 kilometers per hour. It's still unclear whether the brakes were damaged or absent when the operator attempted to apply them. Park zoned records showed that the mini train derailed 79 times in the previous 2 months. Number 11. On September 28, 2019, one of the rides went horribly wrong at Mexico City's La Feria Chapultepec Amusement Park. The last train on the track broke loose from the track and fell to the ground 30 feet below. There were 10 people on the train at the moment. 2 men had fatal head injuries after falling and banging their heads on a steel support. 2 women were hospitalized, and 6 others received treatment on the spot. Shockingly, investigators discovered that none of the park's rides had undergone regular maintenance when the accident happened. Number 10. The Thunder River Rapids attraction at Dreamworld, Australia's biggest amusement park, was designed to replicate the thrilling experience of whitewater rafting. In 2016, things took a terrifying turn when 2 boats crashed, one of which flipped over and trapped the people on board. Thankfully, 2 small children riding in the raft were able to free themselves and escape the catastrophe relatively unharmed, despite the fact that 4 people died in the incident. The entire amusement park was temporarily shuttered for a thorough audit and safety evaluation. Number 9. In 2010, a catastrophic accident occurred on the Space Journey simulation roller coaster attraction at Echo Venture Valley in China, killing 6 people and injuring 9. The ride's cabins abruptly flipped upside down, sparking chaos. Eyewitness stories differed, making the reason for the tragedy a mystery to park officials. Number 8. In November 2020, an 8-year-old girl suffered major internal injuries while riding Dreamworld's Whitewater World Fully 6 slides. As the child fell, her legs became uncrossed due to the forceful impact of the water. She suffered major internal injuries, resulting in 2 weeks of bleeding and the need for surgery. Her family is suing for more than £500,000. Number 7. In 2007, a catastrophic accident occurred on the Fujin Raijin 2 roller coaster at Expoland in Japan. A broken wheel axle caused the second car to derail, killing 1 passenger. Despite regular maintenance, the issue went undetected due to a lack of space to disassemble and inspect the cars. Expoland closed in 2009. Number 6. 10 people were riding the tsunami attraction at M&D's theme park in Motherwell when it derailed in front of shocked onlookers. 5 carriages of the inverted roller coaster separated from the tracks at a curve and fell to the ground. Number 5. An 8-year-old boy died tragically after falling nearly 50 feet off a broken water slide during renovations at Brazil's de Roma Aqua Park. Davi Lucas de Miranda fell from a section of the slide that was undergoing repairs, striking the ride's framework before landing in a shallow pool. Investigations revealed that the manager allegedly ordered the removal of fencing intended to prevent access to the slide during repair. Number 4. During a ride, the Jetline roller coaster at Grönalund in Stockholm partially derailed, resulting in the death of a woman and injuries to several kids. There were 14 people on the carriage at the time of the disaster. Number 3. A roller coaster accident at Silver Dollar City in Missouri killed 23-year-old James Frederick Pauley when a train was accidentally moved onto a maintenance track. Human error caused the accident, and the ride reopened 2 days later. Number 2. On August 28, 1999, a roller coaster at Jillian's Wonderland Pier in New Jersey experienced 2 mechanical breakdowns. Kimberly Bailey, 39, and her 8-year-old daughter Jessica were killed after their car crashed 30 feet down a hill. The drag chain failed prematurely, causing the car to roll backward, and a faulty anti-rollback system contributed to the disaster, which marked the only fatalities in the park's 86-year history. Number 1. Are coasters and heart conditions a deadly combination? Our final instance differs from the conventional roller coaster catastrophe, but is equally heartbreaking. A man with a cardiac ailment died while riding the Python roller coaster at Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay. Before Python's grand opening on April 25, 1976, park officials allowed Stan Hoyer, a 39-year-old reporter with a cardiac problem, a preview ride. Unexpectedly, he died of a heart attack. These incidents serve as warning signs that danger can lurk anywhere, even in areas where we think we are totally safe. It serves as a reminder to constantly stay alert and keep our eyes open, because you never know when something unexpected could occur.